Hey there, YouTubers. I'm going to finish up or continue. I don't know if I'll get finished my spring cleaning. Tell you what I'm going to do, which I think are good ideas. The thing I do is I check around everywhere. Now my RV is all padded, so I just do a look around to see if there's any signs of water, any moisture. Okay, I decided to be nice and not take you through all of that, and everything looks good, but I think that's a very good thing to do. Now I have one of those little wipes, and I am gonna wipe down. Start with the ceiling, like everything, and work your way down, and get this puppy cleaned up. Yeah, there's a little bit of crud around that light. So I'll continue on, and then I'll show you what I do next. As I said, I wiped down the entire top portion of the RV, looking for any signs of any damage, any water, any mold, all very important things to check for when the RV has went through a tough winter. And that's an important thing to do. I checked in the bathroom, I cleaned everything up, wiped everything down, checked around any of the seals that come in from the ceiling to make sure there's no signs of water. And I have none whatsoever, which is good. Wiped all around the windows, check to make sure that there's no signs of water or mold. Two of the worst things you can have in an RV. And it served two purposes. I did that check and I cleaned it. So now I'll do the next thing. Open up the cabinets up top, and same thing. I'm gonna clean in there and really search to make sure that there's no signs of any water damage or any problems whatsoever. And it is amazing how dust and dirt can get everywhere. I'm not a clean freak by any stretch of the imagination, but in this small Class B, it's important for me to try to stay organized. So again, two birds with one stone, cleaning and inspecting. Everything got wiped down. Even found a couple spiders, dead ones, but that's another thing. If you live in an area that might have poisonous somethings or others, you might want to check that. But this is inside one of my cabinets, and my AC unit, there's a channel in the roof, and there are drains on each side of it to let the condensation water drip out. And I checked all that to make sure that there's no signs of water and everything's dry and clean. So that's the first worry. Now I've used the AC unit when I've done some winter camping. I've used the heat option, so I'm going to turn it on for a minute. Hopefully it won't blow my circuit because I don't have a good breaker in there for this outside plug, but we'll let it run. See if we get some heat. It's a good sign that it's running, and it is warm, so I'll turn it off. I'm going to move the knob over to cool. And I'm going to turn it to low and see if I get what feels like cold air. I'll give it a couple minutes. Ran for a good couple minutes and it is cold. Didn't trip my breaker. So I'm going to turn it off. And I mean, obvious stuff. It's always good to make sure that everything works before you go on a trip. Let's see what's going to be next. Again, on the idea of cleaning and inspecting at the same time. Alright, that will help. I open up the back door. But under where the bed is, that's where my main outlet for the back end is, which isn't really convenient. What I've done is I have one power strip down here, and I took the second one and I stapled it along the top and velcroed it with staples right under the front end of this. So I'm going to turn things on. Looks like I got power. This pad has helped me out a lot. I got this at Odd Lots really cheap. It's just a foam pad, and I cut it to fit down here, and I also cut it to fit down in the front under my cooler, and I taped it down First I use some carpet tape underneath and then some duct tape to hold it. But for me that helps a lot because pets. My cat, you know, she's a Persian, so Jesus. But that helps keep the cleaning down a lot too, and it doesn't add a lot of weight to it. I was considering ripping all the carpet out, but on something this small, well, you just get into a lot of weird angles, and I figured a $15 pad would work better. But I do still have some carpeted areas. So what I'm gonna do is I have my Handy Shark, which works great. It's got a good charge, so I'll start it. Start some cleaning. I plugged the Shark into one of the power strips, and I got a green light which says it's charging. What I also do is I take some of that stupid painter's tape and I put around all my cords because I get confused on what goes with what, and I write down what it is. To me, that's a good little tip that might help you with all the frustration. Everything's got a different adapter. So that's working. You see when the plug comes out, the light goes out. I'll plug it in there, turn the strip on, and boom, we got light. My other power cord here in front of the sink, since I'm in the same general area, I'll plug it in there. And again, I got a green light saying it's working. And I have one of the most oddly placed GFI plug too, is up where I can hardly get to the darn thing under there. Is up underneath the kitchen cabinet in a really inconvenient place, but that has a power strip going to it that is over here, and I power everything from the front there, and you can see that it's on. So in cleaning, I've also learned that all my electrical outlets work. I know my air conditioner works. I'm gonna grab my power cord, good heavy gauge power extension cord that I keep with me, and since I'm home, I have a shop vac. I'm gonna use that since I have it before I get on the road. Plug it in here, my outside receptacle, and thus we know that, one, stupid point as it may be, the extension cord's good, and two, the outside outlet's good. That's a GFI too. So I'll get to vacuuming. We're cleaning back here. That box on the back, that's the power switch. That's the device that lets you switch between your generator and shore power. And this is the IntelliPower, and it's working well. One thing I have to do is I have to find a way to block this because the cat started getting back in here. It's back in this little compartment. Somehow she's decided she needs to get through that little hole, so I'm gonna have to fix that. But that's what goes there. And on this side I have my furnace and water heater and water pump. I'm not gonna mess with those today because it's a pain to get to them with this bed in here. So I need to flip this bed anyways, and it's a two-person job, so when I go down to my uncle's, we'll take this out and flip it, and while I'm doing that, I'll get in there. But I know everything's good, but it's never bad to get in there once a year or so and just check things out to make sure that you don't have any problems. And even though I used it not that long ago, my three-way fridge, I'm going to turn it to AC and turn it on for a little bit. I'm relatively level. It should work fine. And I'll just run it for a few minutes just to make sure that it's good. It's not the prettiest fridge in the world, but it's pretty small. And I was saying to somebody else, that's the problem you run into with a Class B, is obviously you give up on size. So this freezer doesn't hold a lot, but I found that if I use that top shelf, I can keep things, if they're close to the bottom of the fridge, I can keep them relatively frozen, at least slow the process of warming down. But then, you know, it's just hard to carry a lot of things that you want to keep frozen in it. And it's obviously hard to carry a lot of things at all in a little fridge like that. We'll do a little outside inspection. This is where my propane tank lives, and I desperately need to get this filled up. It's very, very low, but I know a guy. That actually owns a propane. This is my outside shower, which, note to self, I need to replace this because it started leaking. I'm going to start with just the washers. Maybe I get away with it, but this is a really inconvenient setup because taking this hose off, you can see that this thing barely fits in there. So if I replace it, I'll see if I can find something that works a little bit better in that tiny little space. I don't use this very much, but I should use it more. And obviously the outside of this needs a good cleaning. It's locked. And that is my battery bay. And it looks like I didn't get all the rust cleaned off of this, so it was much worse before, but it's coming back, so it is time. I also think this battery is about towards the end of its life, and I need to see if I can find a second battery that will fit in there, and have to decide whether or not to take the switch out of there. This goes to my little solar trickle charger for it, and it doesn't obviously reach the main battery, but when I get a second one, then I'll jumper them together and everything will be happy. But that needs some work. This is my outside storage. That's good. I worked on that last time, but I am going to lock it. This is where everything hooks up. There's my 30 amp plug and where my water goes, and also cable and telephone hookups. Never been 100% thrilled with the water and the power being at the same place, because we all know it can be difficult to get a good seal. And this compartment is where my Jenny lives. Got the Jenny to start. It's not running hard because there's no load on it, and I don't really need to put a load on it. But I'm going to let it run for a couple more minutes. It's been running for a couple. My battery, or my memory card got full on this. Let that run for a couple minutes. I'm going to shut it off. Like I said, it's good to start these more often than most people do, but I also really need to change the oil, and next time I go down to my uncle's, I'll do that because he's got all the drain pans and place to take it and yada yada. But this is my Onan 2800, and it also has inside the cab, it has a remote start. So this has only got a few hours on it, like 63. But I'm going to start it from inside to make sure that's good. And you can hear that that's running fine. I'll let it run another minute or so, and then I'll shut it off from in here. And as you can tell, it's running fine, so I'm going to shut it off. And we're good. There we go. And as with the generator, I think if you've seen it in my videos before, my RVing uncle, not only does he have stuff that we can do the generator with, and I got spark plugs for it too. I think I'm gonna change the spark plug, and I'll mess with the whole water and dumping at his house, because when he rebuilt stuff, he actually put a dump station in at his house for his RV. So I'll do it all there instead of here. And I want to think that we're done with winter, but as I would say, almost the whole friggin' country knows, you can't be sure when this whole winter thing is going to be over. And now that I have where my clothes usually go all cleaned out and ready to go, I've also went through clothes that I had stored and swapped some out and got some new ones. Green bags. I can't say enough how much I really like this idea of using these Save the Planet bags to organize your clothes. Because when I would stack clothes in there, if I wanted something that wasn't on top everything got all screwed up real quick, and this is a good way to organize. So what I've done here is these are green, and the green are t-shirts. This white bag is a couple pairs of jeans and some swishy pants. Color coding helps me too, even though I'm kind of colorblind. But I know if I'm looking for a shirt, it's the green bag. If I'm looking for a pair of pants, it's the white bag. This brown bag are shorts and swimsuits. And this black bag doesn't have much in it, but sweatshirts go in there. So it might look like a mess, but I found it to be a hell of a lot easier than the other thing, of just a total mess. As we draw to an end on this, I check my refrigerator, and the freezer is getting colder, so I know that it's working. And as we all know, these things take forever to get cold. So if I wanted to wait for it to get down to frozen, it would be damn near tomorrow. They just really take a long time. And they're meant to. That's how they work. There you go, RVers. Keep stuff clean, and as you're cleaning, you're also inspecting. And I get to find again that Cousin Eddie is really a strong and dependable RV. Everything's in good shape. I still have a little bit more cleaning and stuff to do, but this was a relatively productive day. Everything works, and now it's cleaner. So have a great and wonderful day.